why people use it, talk about some popular use cases. Okay. Um, the main requirement of these is it basically delivers kind of like dynamic content inside of your documents. Basically, a lot of times your content inside your documents needs to vary based on certain fields and things of that nature that people have selected. So sometimes you say you want to add certain information to a document based on what's in a field, what's in a field type. Some of the problems that we see when people do not kind of use these the conditional content is people have a large amount of templates that are really similar to each other, except there's just a couple of things that are just changed because they're not using this, so they have a very large amount of templates in their for DocumentsCorePack, and their users have to actually select, know which one they have to select and select the correct one. It also, that comes along, your template maintenance for that there's a lot to do with that. Basically, if I make a change in one template, then I need to change all the other ones. So instead of if I use the conditional content, instead of just touching one template or two templates, I'm having to go through all 20 of these and just kind of go through them and change them all. So the maintenance of those is very high. The other thing that we do see, that people that actually do use the conditional content, is sometimes those the if-else statements can be very confusing if you have like some very complicated ones. That it's really difficult to kind of read those. And when you're editing them, it's really kind of difficult to kind of do all that. And we kind of wanted to make that simpler. So our goals in this whole thing is basically to provide a simple configuration to actually create this conditional content, and also in the long run to reduce the number of templates that you have. How would we do this? Basically, what we're introducing is a conditional designer. And basically what this allows you to do is it allows you to apply conditions to parts of your template based on these field values. It's basically what you were doing before with the if-else statements and things of that nature. So basically in this, all field types are supported. We've added in combinations that are possible, so you can use and or operators. That's something that you could do before with compare, but a lot of times there were a lot of mistakes made in those because it was actually a really complicated kind of setup. And it gives you kind of this if-else automation. One other thing that we're not kind of saying here is it gives you access to a lot more operators than the if-else statements can provide. Just so you guys know, some of these examples, some popular use cases that we see, some of the things we're going to be going over. The salutations, dear Mr., dear Mrs., that's kind of the hello world of if statements. To kind of show you, we're kind of going to, that's one of the main ones that we kind of see. Compact addresses, so doing address blocks, removing address 2 if it's empty. So a lot of times, you'll have these address blocks and you want to, if the address 2 line is empty, you want to kind of remove that. Another thing that we see a lot is taxes and discounts, to only show those if they're applicable. And terms and conditions, or like, say, for example, like if you have verbiage that varies from state to state, you can handle that very easily. Maybe you have a template where, it's for this certain, if it goes to this certain person, it needs to be in English. If it needs to go to this person, it needs to be in Spanish, or what have you. You'll be able to kind of do that all with this. So I want to talk a little bit about the new condition field designer, and this is the feature that we're kind of showing today. This is actually going to be available on our website today. It's available for version 9, so this actually works for Dynamics 365, whether you're on version 8.2 or 9. Or version 9. Basically, you'll need to download this. You might need to update if you're on version 8.2, you might need to also update your DocumentsCorePack server piece in order to get this. So basically what it allows you to do is create conditions really quick. You can edit them okay? And you can actually reuse this conditional logic inside of your templates, all right? Basically, here's the condition designer, kind of what it looks like. Some of the capabilities of it, it has, doing these conditions kind of feels almost like advanced find. So if you're familiar with advanced find, setting up advanced finds, this is going to be really, really simple for you. Again, it's got the and or operator. All attribute types are supported. You're able to reuse define conditions throughout your template. So basically, you define the condition one time, and then if you want to reuse that, you can reuse it in other places in your template. So no having to like copy and paste these huge if statements. Hopefully, you're getting them incorrect. And you're also, the other thing that you're also able to do is you're actually able to negate conditions. So this kind of brings kind of everything together and makes things super simple and easy to use. Some of the examples that you can do, like you be able to show promo information if a customer state returns Georgia or Florida. If you're running if you're sending out information and you have some event that's happening in Georgia or Florida, you're able to just kind of pop that into your template just based on these conditions. You can add contact details, insert state-specific content. You can also insert pictures, tables, anything that you want to insert via a condition, you can do so. And I'll show that once we get into the demonstration. In fact, that's kind of what we're going to talk about right now. What we're going to show, just kind of give you an overview of the condition field designer. And we're just going to create a simple condition and show you kind of how to reuse it in your template. And we're going to also create somewhat of a complex condition and showing you some of the advanced features of it. Yeah, so let me just kind of, I've got ahead of myself there. So let me just kind of flip over here. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring up Microsoft Word. I don't have that open yet, so let me just bring that up. There we go. So just going to start off here. This is basically, if you're familiar with DocumentsCorePack, all the template designer pieces and everything like that, when you design your templates, everything's done inside of Word. So here we've added this, we add this mscrm-addons tab. Over here, to do this, to start creating my template, all I need to do is hit my Insert Mail Merge Fields button, select my entity type. Today I'm going to be working with the account. And then I get a list of all my fields and everything, all my fields, all my lookups, etc. So basically, what I want to do is, let's say I'm just starting off a letter here. We're just going to do the Dear Mr. or Mrs. So here, Dear, and we'll use the the primary contact here, and insert the primary contact's last name. So let's see, here is first name, there is the last name right there. So the old way to do this, you'd have to go ahead, you'd Control F9, if, you'd have to do that whole thing, you have to type it all out. Now, for example, here, let me just go ahead and get rid of that. Now, basically what we've added here is if you come over here to the little drop down to the Insert Fields button, use the drop down, select Computed Items, you have the condition field here. So I'll go ahead and bring that up. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to insert a description or name for this condition. This is really handy because you can find these things throughout your document. You're able to really be descriptive, if you need to. This one, basically, I'm going to just say, I'll just call it gender. All right, so it basically lets you know, what the condition is going to be about. This relation basically shows you where this condition, on what level this condition is. With DocumentsCorePack, you have the ability to add other relationships, like say from, I'll show you here in a second, just basically like a list of contacts. It basically shows where this is. So this is at the document level or the template level. So basically, this basically shows me where I'm at, where this relationship is actually going to work for me. So this is actually going to work in my actual template itself. If I create another relationship and add those tables, this condition will not work in there. So this is actually handy to let you know kind of where this condition is supposed to be. So here, this is really simple to do. I will select here condition block. This is automatically selected. The reason that this is a radio button is that this is only the beginning of this piece. We're going to be adding naturally additional features, additional things that you can kind of do with this. So you'll be able to select other things. So if I just need a basic if statement, usually a basic if statement states something like if this certain condition equals, my operator equals, greater than, less than, etc. This the check condition, then I have the statement being true. Okay, so that's just a basic if statement. If you want to do that, you just have this selected and you go ahead and come down here in the designer and design it. You can actually here click right here, so you'll get the if-else statement. Okay, so if this one condition is true, do this. Else, do this. So basically, we are calling that a negative condition. So like the opposite, the negative. Okay. Then we have the ability to actually select where we want these things to line up. So do I want them next to each other on the same line, or do I want one one below the other? So basically on two separate lines. Okay. So you can do that. That's really helpful. So basically on this particular one, we want these right next to each other. And here I just come into the designer here, and then I select from the drop down. As you can see, it's set up kind of the same way. I have all my fields. Also have my my particular lookups. So here, for example, this is the primary contact. From the primary contact, I want to check the gender. And I want to check if the gender equals. You can see I have a couple different operators here. I have not equals. If it contains, has no data, has data. So these are a couple things here that really kind of aren't available to you like when using the standard if statements. Okay, so a lot of these extra operators are really, really handy. So if the gender equals, and then I'll just select here with my little edit button. So I have here my two values that it can be. I'll select male and bring that on over. So basically, if the gender equals male, then the condition is fulfilled, it's true. Once I'm done kind of setting this up, I just click the OK button. As you can see here, I have two new content controls that have been added. This is my true statement. You can see here where it just says gender. It just gives you the conditional statement here. And then here I have if it's a negative condition. Basically, you determine between the two by, you can see here the exclamation point in the brackets here. This lets you know that that it's actually going to check against the condition. If the condition's not true, then it's going to fulfill this. Okay, so here in the first part, all I really need to do is enter Mr. space. Let's go over to my second one and then Miss and space. So there we go. That's it. That's how easy it is to do. Let me go ahead and I will save this very, very quickly. Just save it up. All right. And then I'll just kind of show you how it works. So you see, this is really readable as compared to like before. Before, if I had this with the fields, most of the time this would not, you wouldn't show it, just say dear primary contact last name. I wouldn't see this unless I hit Alt F9 to see everything. But here you can kind of read it. You can kind of see kind of what's going on. So I'm just going to choose some data here. Select search. And go ahead and just grab that first. So see, it basically, what it does is it then basically just goes ahead, and if it checks the condition, if it's true, it puts the information in there. If it's not true, or if it's false, it removes it. So that's really just kind of a simple example. Something else to kind of show you here, just to show you how easy it is to kind of reuse these conditions. So let's say, for example, here that I need to reference this particular condition again. Let me just go ahead and select that, computed items, condition field. Now here what I can do is I can go ahead and I can say use existing condition, and then from the drop down I can choose my condition that I've defined before in here. that goes ahead and puts my condition in there. So I have everything that I want. I'll go ahead and say OK to this. Now, this is kind of interesting because this just actually shows just like the true statement. So again, I'll just put in Mr. and let's go ahead and let's have a little fun and just kind of show you here that I can insert a picture. So I can type in I can insert the picture here. Well, it's kind of big, so let me just kind of shape this up a little bit so it doesn't take up my entire document. So there we go. So there's the first one. So let's also do this for a let's put it right here, right next to it. So a negative condition here. Again, computed items, condition field. I'll use an existing condition. The gender. Now here I want to check that if it's female, I could change this if I wanted, but here I'll just say negative condition. So if it's not male, I'm pretty sure it's female. So I'll go ahead and say OK. My information here, so this, and then let's go ahead and add another picture here. All right, insert. Oh, get that in there right. All right. So great. So now you can see how easy it is here to actually use conditions. And this kind of also highlights that, here, for example, here's my actual, this is my conditional block here. So basically anything in blue inside of this block is actually going to be shown if the condition is true. In this particular one, anything inside of this block is going to be shown if the condition is not true. Okay, so again, I can kind of keep going and I can add I can insert, say for example, a table, whatever I want. As long as it's inside the block, it's going to show. So this could be text, this could be anything. All right, so we can kind of save that, and we'll choose data again, and of course, we already know what the outcome is going to be. All right, so there we go. So you can see here that it shows what's in the block. My other block is not there because the condition was not met. So you can see how easy it is to kind of put these in there to design these conditions very, very quickly. Let's say I want to do something just maybe a little bit more complicated here. Let's say that I want to add a relationship, all contacts related to this particular account. Let's say I want to put in their people's full names into my table. Pull that over so you can see it. Let's do a little table with a header, and I'll split it out 3 times, and then go ahead and say OK. So here, I just have the name. Here I can look up the gender. And here, let's say for example, I want to know the phone numbers, what phone numbers I have for them. So I want to check to see if I have their business phone, their mobile phone, and say for example, if I have both phone numbers. Okay. So let's go ahead and just do the gender real quick. One thing that I want to show you that's real important, as you can see here, I have no existing conditions. Well, you're like, well, you've defined a condition already. Well, that condition was defined at the template level. Okay, this condition that I'm now defining is here at this table 1. It is at table 1's level. So this is actually just going to work for table 1. So I'll call this gender table, and just kind of flip through it real quick here. Let's see here. Gender equals male. Done. Male. Female. There we go. That's it. Just slap that condition in there. It's way faster than kind of doing it the old way. Same thing kind of goes here for the phone number. Let's kind of start this out. Take a condition. Okay, so we'll call this phone number. There we go. Let me just edit that real quick. We'll create an else block again. We'll keep them right next to each other. So here, let's see. I want to check to see for business phone. I want to check for a mobile phone. Mobile phone number. Here, the real nice, easy thing is because I have all these operators that I don't have in normal if statements. I can check to see. All I need to do is check to see if I have data. That's it. If it contains data, then I'll know that if the business phone has data, or the mobile phone has data, then that's then I know that's correct. Oh, hang on. Let me back this up. So, like, if I want to edit this again, I just basically click inside of here. I can take my field properties. I want to group these together. So what I want to do here is I'll select these two rows, and I'll use the AND operator here. So as you can see, just kind of like an advanced find. So here, basically what I'm checking for is I want to make sure the business phone has data and the mobile phone has data. Okay. Again, you can also use the OR. You can check either or. You can actually select a group, change to OR, add a clause. You can do everything. As you can see, it's real similar to how advanced find works. So if you're familiar with advanced find, you're going to find this really, really easy to define really complex conditions. So, okay, so we've defined that. So this is also a very interesting thing that's kind of coming up here. As you can see, as I've come back in and I've edited this. Basically, I make the edit, and then I get a little warning. It's basically telling me that the condition is also used in other conditional fields. Do you want to really save the changes? And the reason why it's asking me that is because once I make the change to one piece here, the condition here, it basically changes it for all the conditions with the same label. So why this is really, really handy is, let's say, for example, I have these conditions, the same condition all throughout my template. Instead of having to go back in and to each individual condition, I just pick one and I edit it, and it changes it for all the other conditions with the same label. So that's really handy. Also speeds up the process. So here I'll say yes. For my first part, if it's true, I just want to say that they have both. Oh, wait, come on in. There. They have both. All right, and then on to my next condition here. Here, we can insert a condition inside of a condition. So another condition field. This is, let's see, work or sell. Which number do I have? Let's, so again, I can create another statement here. I can create an else block, or I could also go ahead and do this, where I can use an existing condition. I can use my phone number check, since it's really, really similar. What this allows me to do here is I have this button here that says copy and new. So I can actually copy this out. It still has my info in there, so phone number check, work, or sell. All right, and here I can go ahead and change it. So if the business phone has data, then let's see, then I'm pretty sure that the mobile phone will not have data, so I can just kind of delete that out. So the business phone has data, and I've already checked to see that, if checking to see if both of them have data. All I need to check now is for one. So if the business phone has data, then I definitely know that they have that we've got a business phone, that we've got their work number. So let's see here. So let's see, I'm in the phone number check, work or sell. So I can say this is work. All right, and then let's see. So now I'm still in my other condition, check here. Let's add that other condition, the negated piece here. So conditional field, use an existing condition, phone number check, work or sell, and then we'll negate this condition. So if the business phone has data or does not have data, basically, you can do that. So let's see, let's get in the right cell here. There we go. So now you always kind of got to make sure this is kind of a little bit bunched up, so a little bit maybe difficult to see, but it doesn't have. So if we don't have the work number, if that doesn't contain data, then we know we had their cell phone. So that's basically how you kind of throw all these things in there, and so you can embed kind of as many as you want. So I'll go ahead and save this, choose my data, search again, and now there we go. So we have our nice table. We know the gender of each person in here. And we know what phone numbers we have. Like for this particular person, we just have the cell number. For this one, these two, we have both. And for the last one, we just have the work number. So, you can kind of see how easy it is to create these. And these things just you can go on and kind of put, get them as complicated as you want. So very, very, and you can do it really, really quickly. So let me just kind of flip back here. And I want to talk a little bit about some upcoming features for this. Some of the things in the conditional formatting that are coming, one of the interesting things that I think is going to be, you're going to be able to change the format of content based on field values. The easiest thing that comes to mind when you're kind of when you're looking at that is that let's say you've got a list of like for example, you want to show the discounts in red. You want to highlight that. So if it's a negative number, you can actually show that in red in your table. So you can have all the other numbers in green, say for example, positive numbers in green, negative numbers in red. And then let's see, the other thing that is actually coming that's planned, and I did talk a little bit to the developer this morning to get him to clarify this a little bit. It's basically a condition management console to basically simplify the configuration, modification of field properties. So basically in my little document here that I'm showing, wait, here we go. In this one, oh, did I shut the wrong thing down? Well, I'll shut it down. But in my particular document, I only have a few conditions, but let's say you have one with a lot of different conditions. Basically, it's going to be like a navigation pane where you're going to be able to see all content controls inside of that Word document, search them, and also be able to click on them and navigate to them. So it's going to be a really, really, really great feature when that comes out. But again, this is something here that this all is out today. So you can go and you can download it from our website for Dynamics 365. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming again. Just to let you know, you can naturally find us on the web at www.mscrm-addons. I'm sure a lot of y'all know that already. Our help center, so for live chat and support, if you go to our website, click on support, it'll get you any of that information that you need to know. Another thing is, don't forget we have a pretty great blog that you can find on our website. Just go to our website, hover over the support tab, and from the drop down just select blog. We usually have a lot of like little tips and tricks. 2 blog articles basically kind of going over and explaining this maybe a little bit more in a little bit more depth than what I did here are going to be released today right after this this particular webinar. So you can go and read up on that. Contact information is below. Again, you can also find that on our website just for the contact page. And so what we're going to do is now I'm going to open up another survey. Got a little post survey here that I would be. You guys are great. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks so much. I just want to kind of open it up for any kind of questions and answers. Any questions you got, please go ahead and put them in the chat. And Michael's going to come on. If there's any questions that he thought was really interesting, he usually likes to ask those, and then we kind of talk about them a little bit. So, Michael, welcome back.
Yeah. Thank you. So, great job, Clint.
Thanks, man.
Very good. I think the main question that came up during the chat was about